These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said, in this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre.
Breaking tonight, Washington is reeling after new documents from Jeffrey Epstein's estate have been released, and they raise explosive questions about President Donald Trump's house. Oversight Democrats say the newly uncovered emails show Epstein claimed Trump knew about the girls. The messages, written years before Epstein's death, have reopened one of the most controversial and politically radioactive scandals in modern American history. In one 2019 email to journalist Michael Wolff, Epstein wrote that Trump knew about the girls and had even asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop another message from April 2011. Described Trump spending hours at Epstein's house with a woman Democrats say was a victim of trafficking. Those emails, released by the House Oversight Committee, are part of more than 23,000 documents handed over by Epstein's estate. Lawmakers say they point to possible knowledge and perhaps even complicity in Epstein's web of abuse. But the White House fired back within hours, calling the release a selective leak meant to smear Trump. Democrats cherry-picked the messages and reminded reporters that Epstein's accuser, Virginia Giuffre, repeatedly said Trump never harmed her and was friendly and respectful. In fact, Giuffre testified under oath that Trump had no involvement in Epstein's crimes, describing their only meeting as a brief encounter at Mar-a-Lago, where she worked as a spa attendant. She later wrote that Trump offered to help her find babysitting jobs, not exploitation. But the new emails appear to contradict years of public statements, reigniting debate over what Trump really knew about Epstein's secret world. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Democrats claim the redacted name refers to a trafficking victim. Republicans insist it was Giuffre who, they note, exonerated Trump repeatedly before her death earlier this year. The Oversight Committee digging deeper and calling to release the files. That shadow has reached the White House once again.
Hey, Senator Ben Gallego, I'm standing outside Speaker Johnson's office. I'm actually here to deliver the memoir of Virginia Giuffre. She was sexually exploited, assaulted by Ghislaine Maxwell, by Epstein, and all these powerful men for 3 years. She already had a hard life. They picked on her, and they knew exactly how to exploit her. And it's still happening today. She passed away a couple months ago, and to this date, there are still many, many women that are victims of Epstein and all these powerful men. And this guy, Speaker Johnson, and other Republicans have done everything to protect them. So I'm going to read a passage from her memoir. I hope for a world in which predators are punished, not protected. Victims are treated with compassion, not shamed, and powerful people face the same consequences as anyone else. I yearn, too, for a world in which perpetrators face more shame than their victims do, and where anyone who's been trafficked can confront their abusers when they are ready, no matter how much time has passed. We don't live in this world yet. I mean, seriously, where are those videotapes that FBI confiscated from Epstein's house? And why haven't they led to any prosecutions of any abusers? But I believe we could someday. Imagining is the first step. If this book moves us even an inch closer to a reality like that, if it helps just one person, I will achieve my goal. Well, Virginia, I hope that we are going to be able to achieve your goal. There's going to be a vote coming up pretty soon on the House. It's a first step in that regard. There is something happening. There is some type of cover-up that's happening. And Virginia, and for all the other people that have been victimized, we are going to get that information out.
I have your statement about the new Epstein emails that have been released by House Democrats. Separate from why you believe the emails were made public, can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her. And so I think it's a question worth asking the Democrat Party, and you should all go ask them after this briefing, of why they chose to redact that name of a victim who has already publicly made statements about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and is unfortunately no longer with us. Mary.
Thank you, Ghislaine. 2 questions on this. In the interest of transparency, why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with?
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
But given your
Reagan.
interest in transparency, Karoline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please? Doesn't that show our level of transparency? Doesn't that show the level of transparency when we are willing to sit down with members of Congress and address their concerns? That's a defining factor of transparency, having discussions with members of Congress about various issues. And I'm not going to detail conversations that took place in the Situation Room, in the press briefing room. Reagan.